Hi everyone, it's Mrs McInnes here. Welcome to lesson 5 of our quadratics part 2 topic. So in today's lesson we are going to be focusing on past paper questions regarding solving quadratics that we've been kind of looking at already. So there are a few questions here to do today. In fact, there's 4 past paper questions to do. So this will be a fairly long video. So please bear with me as we go through. It's really useful for you guys to see the thought process behind solving these questions and where the marks are allocated as well. That's really important. So this first question here, we have 2 functions are given below. We have f of x is x squared plus 2x minus 1, and we have g of x is 5x plus 3. So these are just 2 different functions that we've been given. The question is asking us to find the values of x for which f of x is equal to g of x. So this is 4 marks here, and it's actually a very simple, very easy 4 marks to get. So you're told that f of x is equal to g of x for certain values of x. So what we would do is we would start off by setting those equal to each other. So if f of x is equal to g of x, well, f of x is x squared plus 2x minus 1, and g of x is 5x plus 3. So here we're going to bring everything to the left hand side and then set it to equal 0 on the right hand side. So the first thing we'll do is take away 5x from both sides. So that will give us x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 3. And then we'll also take away 3 from both sides to get everything to the left. So that's going to give us x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Now that we have everything on the left hand side and equals 0 on the right hand side, we can factorise and solve. So into double brackets because it's a trinomial. So we're looking for the numbers that multiply to minus 4 but add up to minus 3. That's quite a simple one. I would hope that you would be able to do just kind of quickly in your head. So it's going to be minus 4 and plus 1. So x minus 4 and x plus 1. Minus 4 add 1 is minus 3. Minus 4 times 1 is minus 4 at the end. So your 2 answers here, we've got x minus 4 equals 0. So x would be equal to 4. And we also have x plus 1 equals 0. So x is equal to minus 1. So your 2 answers for this are x equals 4 and x equals minus 1. So this is 4 marks. Like I said, it's really easy 4 marks to get. Your first mark is for setting these 2 equations equal to each other. So that would be your first mark. Your second mark is for getting all your terms to the left hand side and equal 0 on the right hand side. So that line there. Your third mark is for factorising it correctly into 2 brackets. And then your last mark is for your 2 answers. So a very easy 4 marks to get, fairly quick question to do. Okay, the next past paper question here, we have the diagrams below show a rectangle and a triangle with all measurements shown in centimetres. So we have our rectangle here with 2x plus 1 for one side and x plus 8 for the bottom side. And then we have our triangle with a height of 3x and the base as 2 bracket x plus 5. First part of this question is a little 1 mark question, and it says find the expression for the area of the rectangle. So area of a rectangle at its simplest is length times breadth. So all we would need to do is multiply our 2 sides. So x plus 8 times 2x plus 1. Okay, that would be it. For part B, we're asked, based on the fact that the area of the rectangle is equal to the area of the triangle, show that x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. So this is kind of similar to your last question where we were told 2 things were equal. So we're going to do similar ideas last time. We're going to get our 2 expressions and set them equal to each other bring everything to the left-hand side and equal 0 on the right-hand side, and then we should be getting x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0 as our final line of working. So area of the rectangle, well, we've already done that in part A as our double brackets. So what we would do is we would expand that out to get our full expression. So I'm just going to kind of take that down to here. So if we break that out, we would get 2x squared plus x plus 16x plus 8. So if we tidy that up, we get 2x squared plus 17x plus 8. Then for your triangle, okay, your triangle is area equals half base times height. So we would be doing 1/2 times the base, which is 2 bracket x plus 5, times the height, which is 3x. So if we tidy this up, 1/2 times 2 is just 1. So that kind of cancels that first part there down to just a 1. So we've just get x plus 5 times 3x. So if we break that out, we'll get 3x squared plus 15x. So now that we have an expression for both of the areas, we can set these equal to each other. And I'm actually going to put the one that has 3x squared, so your triangle, I'm going to put that on the left-hand side, just so that when I bring my terms across, I'm going to have a positive x squared. So 3x squared plus 15x is equal to 2x squared plus 17x plus 8, because our two areas are equal to each other. So everything has to come to the left-hand side. So I'm going to take away 2x squared from both sides first. So that will leave me x squared, which is why I put the larger of the two x squared terms on the left-hand side. Plus 15x equals 17x plus 8. Then I'm going to take away 17x from both sides. So I'll get x squared minus 2x equals 8. And then I'm going to take away 8 from both sides so that everything is over on that left-hand side. So that's going to leave me x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0, which is what I was asked for. You can see it just there. X squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. So that would be that part of the question done, because we have got our final line of working to be what it was in the question we were asked to show. Okay, there's one more part of this question, which is to hence find algebraically the length and breadth of your rectangle. Anytime you see the word hence, that is an exam command word. That means using your previous answer. So our previous answer was x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. If we solve this for x, we can then go back to our diagram of our rectangle and plug in our value for x to get our length and our breadth. So we need to factorise this. It's a trinomial, so double brackets. We're looking for the numbers that multiply to minus 8 but add up to minus 2. So it's going to be minus 4 and plus 2. Minus 4 times 2 is minus 8. Minus 4 add 2 is minus 2. So if we take our two answers here, we've got x minus 4 equals 0. So x is 4. And we've got x plus 2 equals 0, so x would be minus 2. Now, whenever we're doing problem solving quadratics, we always need to think if our answers are appropriate, if they make sense as an answer. So we've got 4 and we've got minus 2. If we go back up to our diagram of our rectangle, okay, if we think of the negative answer, that minus 2, if you were to put minus 2 into the breadth of this rectangle, so 2x plus 1, that would then say 2 times minus 2 plus 1. So 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, plus 1 is minus 3. Cannot have a length of minus 3. So your negative answer won't be applicable here. So we can disregard this answer just by putting a wee line through it. And we can write just next to it, disregard. And then we're going to concentrate on using the 4. So our length in the diagram, it was x plus 8. So that's going to be 4 plus 8. So that's 12 centimetres. And our breadth in the picture was 2x plus 1. So that's 2 times 4 plus 1. So that's 9 centimetres. So this full question is a lot of marks. It's worth quite a lot in total. So if I scroll back up here, the first part for part A was just 1 mark. So it's just 1 mark for the double brackets. For part B, it's 3 marks. So we get 1 mark for the expression for your triangle, 1 for equating them together, and then 1 for rearranging everything into the form in the question. And then for part C, that's also 3 marks. It is 1 mark for factorising correctly, so into double brackets. It's 1 mark for your 2 answers and disregarding the negative. And then it's 1 mark for your 2 dimensions, finding your 2 dimensions. Okay, past paper question 3. We have here the curved part of the letter A in the artwork logo is in the shape of a parabola. The equation of this parabola is y equals x minus 8 bracket 2 minus x. So the first part says write down the coordinates of Q and R. So if your question says write down, it should be something really quick and easy to do. So Q and R are your 2 roots of your parabola, which we've learned is the same as just solving your parabola. Solving your quadratic equation. So if we just take our equation and set it to 0, so x minus 8, 2 minus x equals 0, we can just take our 2 answers from here. Okay, we're setting it to 0 because your y coordinate at those 2 points is a 0. So instead of it being y equals, it's going to be 0 equals. So I'll just put it at the end. So we'll get, for the first bracket, for x minus 8 equals 0, we'll get x is 8. And then 2 minus x equals 0. So minus x equals minus 2. So x equals 2. 2 minus 2 for 0. So for Q, that must be the 2, 0 coordinate. And then for R, it'll be the 8, 0 coordinate. Okay, got to think which one is which. Then for part B, we're asked to calculate the height of the letter. So we're looking for the height of the whole letter. So we're looking for this entire height. If we just copy that, that height from there into the shape, it's this whole height here. So from the bottom of the logo just up to your x-axis, we know that that's 16 units because we know that minus 16 is the lowest point of this. What we then need to do is find out this upper section here with the question mark. So really what we're looking for here is where's the turning point? If we know the y coordinate of your turning point, we then know how high up that is. So it's really just finding your turning point. So your x coordinate of your turning point is adding up your roots and halving the answer. So we're going to do 2 plus 8 divided by 2. So that's 10 divided by 2. So 5. And then we'll plug that into the equation to get our y coordinate. So we're going to have 5 minus 8 and then 2 minus 5. So you pop that into the equation instead of x. So 5 minus 8 is minus 3. 2 minus 5 is also minus 3. Minus 3 times minus 3 is 9. So this turning point coordinate is 5, 9. So what that means is it means that that section in there between the top of the parabola and the y-axis, the x-axis is 9 units. So all you need to do is write out your height. So your height is going to be 9 plus 16, so 25 in total. So your marks here, we get in part A, 1 mark for each of these coordinates being correct. So finding your roots and deciding which is which, you get 1 mark for each. We get 1 mark for finding our turning point 5, 9. We then get 1 mark for knowing that we're adding the 9 onto the 16, and then 1 for your final answer. So 5 marks there. Okay, the last question is probably the longest one of all of these. We have a rectangular picture measuring 9 by 13 centimetres is placed on a rectangular piece of card. The area of the card is 270 centimetres squared, and there's a border around the whole thing of width x centimetres all the way around. So part A says write down an expression for the length of the card in terms of x. So again, it's this word write down, so it should be something really simple to do. So the length of your card, you have your border at either side of x centimetres, and you have the length up the middle there for 13. So all we would do is just write that as 13 plus 2x. Okay, we're adding on an x and an x to 13, so 13 add 2x. Part 2 of part A is to hence show that 4x squared plus 44x minus 153 equals 0. So it says hence, that means using what you just did in the last part of the question. So we're going to have to use this length. So what else have we been told in the question? Well, we have our length, we have our width, and we're also told up here that the area is 270 centimetres squared. So we have all the information we need to set up an area calculation. So area equals length times breadth of a rectangle. Our area is 270. Our length we just wrote out as 13 plus 2x. We can do the same for the breadth of the rectangle as well. So the border either side all the way around is x. So for your breadth of this, it would be 9 plus 2x. So in a similar way to what you did for the length. Now we have an equation set up, we can just rearrange this around, and we should be getting this 4x squared plus 44x minus 153 equals 0 once it's rearranged. So let's break out the brackets. So 13 times 9, that's 117. We then have 26x plus 18x plus 4x squared. So you can see here that we have kind of the makings of what we're looking for. We have that 4x squared term, so it's starting to look like what we need. So let's tidy this up further. So 117, if we add 26 and 18, we get 44x. So again, this is starting to look like the expression in the questions. We have the 44x now as well. What I would do at this point is I would turn this round so that the 4x squared is on the left. So 4x squared plus 44x plus 117 equals 270. And then we're going to take away 270 from both sides so that we have equals 0 on the right. So 4x squared plus 44x. If we do 117 minus 270, we get minus 153 equals 0. So that is now matching up with what we were asked for in the question. Okay, part B is to calculate x, which is the width of the border, give your answer to 1 decimal place. So here is your clue that we're going to be using the quadratic formula because we're asked to solve it for x, calculate x, solve for x to 1 decimal place. So this will not factorise, we will have to use our quadratic formula. So I'm just going to slide this up a wee bit. So in your expression, you have your A, your B, and your C values. So A is 4, B is 44, and C is minus 153. So into the formula, your formula is x equals minus B plus minus square root of B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That formula is on the formula sheet. You don't need to know that off by heart, but obviously the better you know it, the quicker you can write it out. So plugging in our values, we have minus 44 plus minus square root 44 squared minus 4 times 4 times minus 153 all over 2 times 4 for a. So working through to tidy this up, we've got minus 44 plus minus. So 44 squared is 1936. We then have minus 4 times minus 153. So the two negatives multiplied go back to plus, and then it's plus 2448 over 8. And then we just have to tidy up inside that square root. So we've got x equals minus 44 plus minus the square root of 4384 over 8. So we would then split off and do one of these with a plus and one of these with a minus. So if we do x equals minus 44 plus root 4384 over 8, we get 2.7764 and so on. So dot, dot, dot. So to one decimal place, that's going to be 2.8. I'm just going to make sure that that question said one. Yeah, one decimal place. So 2.8. And then for the minus version, we've got minus 44 minus root 4384 over 8. So that gives us minus 13.7764 dot, dot, dot. So that would be minus 13.8 as well. Now, always think of these questions, they're problem solving questions. Does the answer make sense? So this x value was the width of the border of the card. So it can't be minus 13.8 centimetres. So we can disregard that answer. So it's important that you write your two answers and then show that you're disregarding one of them. So just to finish up, I'm going to write out x equals 2.8 centimetres as my final answer. So this question, again, is quite a lot of marks, but again, it's quite simple marks to get. Really, a lot of this is just formula work. So for the first part, your first mark for part 1 is just for writing out the length is 13 plus 2x. For part 2, it's 2 marks. We get 1 mark for expanding out the double brackets correctly. So you get your first mark for sort of this section here. So expanding out your brackets correctly with foil. And then your second mark is for sort of tidying it, sort of both these lines here. So tidying it up and then bringing everything to the left so that it equals 0. That's your 2 marks there. You then have 4 marks for your quadratic formula. So like I said, it's a lot of marks for pretty much just formula work. So your first mark is for substituting the numbers into the formula correctly. Your second mark is for tidying up underneath the square root. So getting that 4384 tidied up is your second mark. We then have a third mark for both your answers. And then your final mark is for choosing the answer that is appropriate for the question. So what I would like you to do here is try these questions from the booklet. So I'm actually going to narrow these questions down just because there's quite a lot of questions there. I'm going to ask you to leave out question 6, 7, 8. Don't bother with those ones, okay? So leave those out. There's a couple of questions there that are similar, so I'm going to kind of narrow this down for you a wee bit today. So I'd like you to try from page 8, question 1 to 5. 17, 21 and 22. The last couple of questions are problem solving, quite unusual looking questions. The first few are a bit more straightforward. So please give these a try today, and I'll be on the Teams page. I'll have the call open if you need my help with any of these questions. Please come on and ask me then and there if you're stuck with anything. And as usual, mark your work from the back of the booklet and email it across to me when you are done. Thanks for listening, guys. I know it was a long video, so thank you for sticking with it, and I will speak to you all during the lesson. Bye.